Well, hey there, welcome back to Leah's Leaves. Yes, you're looking at a drawer full of yarn on a gardening channel. You have Sweetpea Sid to thank for this over at Sweetpea Sid's Inspirations. She did a shout out video today for me and my gardening channel, but she was also highlighting other yarn crafters. And behind her in her shout out video is a huge wall of yarn. Joe Koslowski over at Garden State Gardener, he frequently talks about crocheting, and even at his seed giveaways on Sunday Fun Day, every Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. on his channel, he goes live and does seed giveaways, but he also gives away yarn. And we have a lot of yarn crafters in the gardening community, and I have never shown you what I do with all this yarn, so I thought today I'd give you a quick tour and give you some background on my work as a yarn crafter. This is a little dresser in my spare room. It has knitting and crochet pattern books, more knitting and crochet pattern books. There are more knitting and crochet pattern books kind of spread around the house. And then I know these are all like my little remnant balls of yarn in a couple of the drawers here. I have this old dresser tucked away inside the closet. There's crafting materials up in those buckets, and then every drawer is full of yarn. These are all medium worsted weight 4-ply acrylic yarns, because the project that I work on exclusively requires that kind of yarn. Anytime people donate yarn to me, or I can find a bunch in a thrift store or something, I give or sell anything that isn't 4-ply medium worsted weight acrylic. The reason for that is because they're color washable, they're kid friendly, they're hypoallergenic, and they keep their shape. They're also easy to wash. Lots of colors. I said a moment ago that I work exclusively, but that's not strictly true. I also make snowflakes for Christmas ornaments that I starch and block. So that's what these crochet cottons are for. They're all red, white, green, and antique white for making Christmas ornaments. But otherwise, everything you see is acrylic, worsted weight yarn, acrylic, 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 everywhere. So let me show you what I do with these. I lost a dear friend in 2016 to a sudden heart attack. But before that, many years before that, his name was Alan Patterson. He was a musician like I am, who took up crocheting while he was on kidney dialysis waiting for a kidney transplant. And he had a successful kidney transplant and of a living donor that was a personal friend of ours. And they both did great through the process. And as Alan was waiting for the kidney transplant and healing from it afterward, he picked up the old hobby that his sisters had taught him many years ago of crocheting. And in the process of going to a dialysis clinic for his first in-person, he did both peritoneal and hemodialysis at some point on his journey. But for the clinic dialysis, they paired him with a little 7-year-old boy who became his mentor. And that really moved him, that there was a 7-year-old kid who was already undergoing the process of dialysis and having kidney disorders of some sort. And Alan wanted to do something for him and for other children. So he used his crocheting and his downtime while he was healing to begin a charity that he called Kidney Afghans for Kids, KAFK. Over the years, that evolved into just Healing Prayer Afghans, because we began to discover that it wasn't just children who needed these Afghans, but grown-ups too, and people of all ages and all shapes and sizes. And the concept was very simple. We would ask knitters and crocheters from all across the country to use medium worsted weight 4-ply acrylic yarn. So your Red Heart yarn, Karen, Lions brand, they all make those. Some of the store brands they're dye friendly, so they won't bleed, washable, great to work with. and they're all the same uniform consistency. And we would ask them to make 6x6 or 8x8 squares. And then volunteers like me not only made squares like the ones you're looking at here, but we would also volunteer to piece them together and put a border around them. And what we do is we give these Afghans away to people on dialysis, people going through a transplant process, both receivers and donors, to loved ones who have lost someone to a kidney disease. We donate them to pediatric nephrology clinics, children's hospitals that treat pediatric nephrology issues, and grown-up dialysis clinics and nephrology doctors' offices. These squares that you're looking at now are a combination. The one on the left is crocheted, and the one on the right with the leaves is knitted. But they're the same size, 8x8 in this case, and they're made with the same kind of yarn, and so they piece together just fine. Here's another combination. That's a knitted square, the gray one, next to a crocheted square. So if you're somebody who has a bunch of scrap yarn lying around and you would like to donate squares, you can email me at leahsleaves@hotmail.com to get the information from me where to send them. What we ask you to do, and why the project was so powerful, is that while we knit or crochet the squares, we pray over the person who's going to receive this blanket. We pray for their healing. We pray for their finances. We pray for them to be able to navigate the medical system and the insurance and make sense of the treatment options and find comfort in the dialysis treatments. If they're waiting for a transplant, we pray and ask God to send them the ideal donor, in a zip. And we pray for the families who are supporting people on these journeys. Anyway, this is a passion project of mine. Alan died in 2016, and his family agreed to let me take over the leadership of the project. And so I continue the work of Kidney Afghans for Kids and Healing Prayer Afghans right here out of my house. We had donors along the way from California, Kansas, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Florida. When I was a pastor in Florida, we had a coffee shop, and every Friday at 11 a.m., anybody could come and knit or crochet any project they were working on. We just had sort of a little yarn craft circle going where we would sit and we'd do our needlecraft and we'd speak to each other, visit, and forge friendships. Many of those people contributed granny squares from their leftover yarn. And we've had male donors and female donors, and we've had grandmas, and we've had kids. And we've given these blankets away to infants, children, teenagers, men and women of all ages, going through a variety of kidney-related diseases or disorders, or their surviving family. Anyway, that's what I do with my yarn and my free time. This time of year, I'm in the garden, so not much is being knit or crocheted. But come fall and in the winter months, I love on the long nights to sit and put on a movie or some music and just blitz, 20 squares, or piece together 3 Afghans, or put a border around a whole Afghan. To date, the organization has donated about 125 blankets total to everything from Jacksonville Children's Hospital to individuals going through these kidney issues. And the people who receive them find a great deal of comfort in knowing that there were total strangers from all across the country who were lifting their situation, their body, their family up in prayer and asking God to work a healing miracle, and asking God to provide for their needs, and asking God to comfort them in their grief and sorrow, or to give them peace of mind in the anxiety and the uncertainty of living with a diseased body. Anyway, that's what I'm doing here. I'm learning a lot and sharing it here, even stuff that's not in the garden. And I hope you'll come grow with me, or knit with me, or crochet with me. Bye.